So I want to introduce to you Natalia Mihai from the Pan Pacific Hotel. She has won an award for the employee. What year was it now? 2014. She was the Associate of the Year and has also won a Spirit Award for her enthusiasm and her great customer service and personality, because she is so much fun. Please give a warm round of applause for Natalia Mihai.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for having me here to share my experiences with you. As Linda mentioned, my name is Natalia Mihai. I'm a third child of 9 children. My parents and I immigrated due to religious persecution from Bucharest, Romania in the late 1970s. We all left by train under the cover of darkness at nightfall without telling family or friends. We arrived in Vienna, Austria. We interned at a facility for refugee families. We stayed in that complex for 6 months while we awaited sponsorship opportunities. That was 40 years ago. This year marks that momentum occasion, and I had the pleasure of walking back in time to revisit the center in April this year, which I arrived from Bucharest to Vienna on a train, just like the first time I made the journey. It still accommodates many refugees from around the world. It was like returning home. I stepped off the train, and my footsteps led me directly to the gate of the complex. It's like I was making my way home after a long absence. Imagine that. I was a young child when I left. How did my feet know to walk in that direction? Nostalgia, it runs deep. Arriving in Canada, we all quickly had to learn a new language and adopt to new customs. While we went to school and were mercilessly bullied, my parents endured pretty much the same thing. We kids had it easier though. We would watch endless hours upon hours of television until our mimicry of English transformed into language skills. My parents, though, had it harder. Even though my dad was a highly skilled and trained in several fields of work, was a paratrooper in the Romanian army, and had a total of 13 jumps to his credit, on the very first day at work at a factory, he was handed a broom. I'm sure in this moment this was not the freedom my father envisioned leaving his country, family, and friends for. My own dear mother struggled with ridiculous work conditions, and I think her hourly wage was $2.50 at that time. Bread was 25 cents a loaf. She would come home. They would both be utterly and completely exhausted, only to be met with the many needs of 9 children. The good life, eh? Regardless of past struggles, work ethic, determination, dedication are the underlying momentum to keep a family happy, strong, and fed. Growing up in a big family was rewarding. Certainly never dull, but it's had its challenges too. As kids, we lived for summers. We're living in southern Ontario. The summers were hot and endless. My favorite activities as a child were, and still are, sports and reading. My goal was to grow up and become a version of Barbara Walters. Most of you won't know this lady, but she's a powerful voice. She is professional, empathetic, cultured, patient, almost regal in her journalism role at 2020. The first lady of journalism in a field mostly made up of mature Caucasian males. She interviewed heads of states, famous people, movie stars. She employed such grace and eloquence that I wanted to mold myself to be like her. She was and is definitely a role model. In today's world, she would be like Ellen, just without all the jokes, and she certainly didn't dance. So after high school, I went on to pursue journalism in an intense 3-year program. At the start, there were 120 people in the first semester. I graduated in a class of 12. It was a very tough course. At the end, I came out with a very high GPA, shockingly high to me. So I had high expectations of myself, for myself. With $500 in my pocket, after graduation, I left Ontario for another small town, this one in British Columbia. My first job was at the Mission Times newspaper. I lasted a month. I quit. I knew why. Because I didn't know how to write and I had 0 life experiences. With that knowledge, or lack of, I moved to North Vancouver where an old high school friend lived. The first and only day I went job searching, I walked all the way up on Lonsdale Avenue, starting at number 1 Lonsdale. And it's a very, very long street. It goes up at least 40 blocks. Needless to say, I submitted my resume into each and every storefront. It didn't matter what type of work. I just wanted a job. My rent was $450 a month. Again, it didn't matter which type of work. A small Greek restaurant at number 3 Lonsdale hired me with no experience because When the girl interviewed me, asked me what I would do if the owner would start yelling at me. Apparently, people did that. When I replied, nothing, she hired me. He was just a little guy, prone to getting excited. Once upon a time, in his golden years, he had been a hotshot waiter at a very prominent steakhouse. Still around today, which made me wonder what kind of work environment that was. But he was the owner, and I made it work. That was my first waitressing job. From that job, I stepped into a school photography job, not because I was qualified, but because I was personable and trainable. Subsequently, from that same small place, I landed one of the best jobs ever. I flew to Los Angeles, California for an interview that I paid for. When I told the lady I would be in the Los Angeles area and what day would she be available to interview me, I then booked my flight based on that day. I got hired to work as an onboard photographer for Princess Cruises. Imagine how awesome that was. I traveled around South America, eventually the Mediterranean, and then Europe. My pay was $800 a month, but it was definitely not for the money. Argentina, Chile, Brazil, Aruba, Italy, Greece, Turkey, you get the idea. Had I said no to working for that tyrant, I would not have had some of the best work experiences ever. After my travel, I needed a job again. So I did some contract work for a company most people should know the name of, Executive Waiter Resources, otherwise known as EWR. They also hired me with not enough experience, and when I actually showed up to all my shifts and on time, they started giving me regular shifts at a downtown hotel. That hotel hired me for their own full-time staff because I showed initiative and listened to a guest ask for something when my coworker could not deliver. I came through. Always an opportunist, when I heard the highly esteemed Pan Pacific Hotel had open interviews every Thursday, I rushed off in my first and last taxi cab ride in Vancouver to meet with the lady holding interviews. I had zero job experience in a five-diamond environment, but I won the interview over with my bubbly and exciting personality, not so much my new manager, Linda. I overheard her grumbling that she couldn't believe they had hired such a junior member. Usually they hired people with at least 10 years of experience. Blah, blah, blah. It was a matter of winning her over too, and win her over I did. I made sure to shine like all those crazy diamond standards we had to adhere to. I set out to win every contest, I did. I set out to outsell my coworkers, I did. The praise from the guests did not go unnoticed. I was nominated for many, many awards. My favorite one, which Linda mentioned, was Associate of the Year in 2014. I worked hard for that distinction. I'm proud of that distinction, as is Linda. Strong work ethic. I showed up on time, and as of July 1st, 2018, I had yet to call in sick a single time. As I entertained guests, I found an amazing group of people that I work with alongside me on a daily basis. Say hi to Ryan. Oh, hi. It is very hard work, but it is so worth it. We live in the most beautiful place on earth. We live in a postcard, and I work in an environment that still takes my breath away. An iconic workplace, the 5 Sales are something that identifies Vancouver worldwide, that I get to see as I gaze out spectacular floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the North Shore Mountains and Stanley Park. Nothing beats a sunrise over Mount Baker, visible in the East Bay windows overlooking East Vancouver and Burnaby, where I even watched the elastic eclipse with homemade eclipse equipment that guests had made for us to use. As snow dusts the North Shore Mountains, the sun sets behind the Lions Peak, float planes land and take off, cruise ships are floating, star-studded events. And all this, all I have to do is show up. Literally with a hair elastic and a pair of socks.
Black socks, no polka dots.
I knew she wouldn't like these. With the hair elastic and a pair of socks. Crazy, right? True story. When I arrive at work, my laundry uniform awaits. My paid-for shoes are in my locker. I go up to my office, drink the best coffee in the world, and start my day. I often think I won the lottery with this job. Doesn't get better than this. 18 years. Where did you go? So now today, I have my own family. I have 4 kids. 2, I had to let go and adopt them out. I just couldn't take care of them anymore, and I was sick and tired of them jumping out of the fishbowl. And 2 real children. I'm blessed and happy with healthy daughters. Between work and home, it's busy, but I suppose I wouldn't exchange it for much else. The hotel has given me everything. Only one of the best perks is the discontinued buffets at extremely low prices. But something more than monetary advantages is what money can't buy. A place to work and grow and use my personalized, cultivated charm to nurture a relationship with guests I met through the years. We are all from somewhere, and we want our stories heard. I constantly tell crazy stories of my kids, the real ones, and my guests love it. See now, I have a captive audience. The video isn't rolling and I'm not on live TV, but the people in front of me are my VIPs and making them feel important. I'm living that dream as that famous interviewer, asking all the questions, getting interesting stories out of people from all walks of life from around the globe. The best part, they come back and ask, is Natalia working today? Through months, years, seasons, there have been a lot of staff to train. I used to get that job to train the new people. We call them associates. I would tell the new associates, I'm not training you to do the job you were hired to do. I'm showing you how to do that job, how we do things here. If they are the ones who succeed, they always want to impress the trainer. If they don't last. You can have the best day and you can have the worst day at work, but you have the opportunity to handle how it will go. Even though I used to get a lot of tables that would be service recovery, whatever crazy experience in a negative way they had already had at the hotel, my job would be to win them over. Oh, Linda would give me these gems. And in a way, it was almost easier. I had carte blanche to make matters brighten, and whatever I did couldn't be any worse in their minds what they'd received. Some easy remedies, putting orange juice in champagne glasses and presenting it to them, or your juice awaits you, ma'am, or putting soda water, straight up soda water, and bubbling away in fancy glasses, or finding leftover cupcakes and chocolate-covered strawberries from a previous event and presenting that to a guest, or giving out a personalized plaque, happy birthday, John. Or my favorite, my very, very favorite is giving out the pens. I'll tell you about that in a little bit. Service to me is inherent. As I'm walking in the streets of downtown Vancouver and I see people with a map obviously struggling, I ask, do you need help? It's something in you, a part of you. I think service is like most things, a beginning. A nice strong smile, announce your intentions, the middle, where you accomplish what you set out to do, serve the food, the end with the flourish. It's like a sales event, a book, life really. Beginning, middle, end. You might start out shaky, but you build up momentum. I once had a group of tourists who had heard all over town how fabulous the Nanaimo bars were. They stopped in a few locations, but couldn't find any. They told me how excited they were to try this delicious dessert, but no one seemed to have any. A tiny light bulb went on in my head. I remembered seeing them at my grocery store after calling our own pastry department to make sure we didn't have any. I inquired if they were dining with us the next morning. The room they had included the breakfast buffet. I wished them well and told them if they wanted to sit in my area to ask for me. The next morning, after they had eaten, I presented them with their own tray to take, free of charge. You can imagine the happiness that ensued. It took 10 minutes, cost me $5. There is this beautiful, angelic girl who I've watched grow up over the years as her parents brought her to brunch. Her hugs make your heart melt and fill it with gladness and love. She wanted to celebrate her 10th birthday with something like 15 little girls. A few days before the reservation came in, I spoke with my manager in the pastry department. When Elise arrived, the entire table was decorated with blue Jell-O. It's possibly the only thing she eats when she comes in. Imagine how thrilled she was, and her parents. By the way, this all cost me nothing. Free, just goodwill. I've walked on a few pilgrimages, and one of my biggest supporters, one of my biggest fans is in this room right now. Linda, my manager, your instructor, is hands down the most empathetic, caring person you'll ever meet. If you are good enough, because you strive for it. Her work ethic is legendary, and attention to detail is maddening. Rest assured, if you know she's a tea drinker by day and a wine drinker by night, likes her family and hot tubs too, you're a shoe-in for a good grade. The best part of working with Linda was her never-ending supply of high-heeled shoes. Clack, clack, clack. We all heard her coming a mile away. There we all were, wiping, folding, cleaning, as good as it gets. Standards. I used to scoff at them. Seriously? My hair in a bun? Pearl-only earrings? Blue nylon? Seriously? The 10-foot rule? Until I went to Japan and saw firsthand the efficiency of what the first owners of the hotel had envisioned for our brand. I got it then. Not that I followed the rules better, but because I understood the value of them. Okay. I once had this table of 12 very demanding ladies. They were dreadful. I pretended I had a TV crew on me the whole time, and I was a very engaging actress because they were so demanding and awaiting their opportunity to make my morning miserable. Watching my facial expressions, which never changed, and when they asked for their separate checks, I didn't even flinch. Which, of course, they are ready as we speak. Not all go that way. I came around the back of chairs one morning to say hello to two ladies. They had the exact same hairstyles. I came around and I said, "Good morning, ladies." And when I noticed, it was a lady and a man. So I quickly stuttered and said, "Gentlemen." He was not amused. Another faux pas. Sometimes some orders drive you crazy. It was my Monday morning, and my very first table orders toast, peanut butter, and oatmeal. The least favorite chore. Well, I'm at the table, I'm writing it down, and knowing is all hell. I even rolled my eyes to myself. I gasped, realized she was watching me. Thank God I already had my morning cup of coffee. I quickly told her, "I'm so sorry. You caught me mid-sneeze." You make the best of it, but you learn from these complete faux pas. My favorite part of my job is what I like to call public relations, but this is a one-person department. Sometimes I get people to help me deliver the product, but I like to use my creativity and go the extra mile for guests. If there are kids at the table, I notice that they didn't eat much and they're invariably traveling. I give them a box of cereal, a banana, a cookie. The kids are thrilled, but the parents are touched because it's such a small gesture. And it's handy when you're traveling to have a small snack with kids. I would know. If kids have extremely gracious manners, and some do, I go all out. They get all the goodies I can muster. Most people are willing to tell you private things. Some come to celebrate an anniversary or birthday. Some come to sip on coffee. Some have business meetings. Some couldn't care less. You are there to serve. But you are there. Serve like you mean it. I had just gotten off the plane in Tokyo, and it was immediately taken back by how foreign it was as thousands of people moved about freely. I was frozen in fear. Panic and doubt crept in. In the sea of faces, I noticed the porter looking at me. Just me. And his smile lit up his face. That smile was for me. I smiled back. It encouraged me. It allowed me to continue on my long journey. Smiling, I found, is an international language. In all my travels and adventures, I've come to some very basic but ethic of understanding of what most of us need and want to survive on planet Earth. In my long-distance walks, I've discovered that all I need when I'm walking are clothes I'm wearing, something to drink and eat, and somewhere to sleep. When these basic needs are met, you have time for more internal needs. When you're on the road and you meet people, you greet and you ask their names, where are you from, where are you going, and sometimes how come, you have an instant friendship. If not, a bond is instantly struck up. That's what I find in my workplace too. It's not just a meal. It's a sense of belonging, nursing more than just the body. You inherently know how to please people. You choose who you favor. When you start to work, make your clients, guests, those favorite friends. My go-to is, so what do you guys have planned for today? And any travel plans in the near future? Ask people questions about themselves. Why are you here? How long are you staying? Where are you going? Do you need any help or advice about Vancouver? Some really decent pieces of advice for succeeding in a workplace. If you see something, hear something, do something, say something. Why didn't the skeleton cross the road? Anyone? Because it had no guts. Don't be like that guy. Read. Be current. They're not on Facebook either. Think of others, but think of yourself too. Ask for help. I had so much pride. The 10-foot rule. Smile. It's an international commodity. Acknowledge people. Build relationships. Volunteer. Give. We have the best water. Don't waste it. Recycle, or I'll find you. Remember names, what they like, what they dislike. Be thankful, gracious, humble. So there's this dress, the one I happen to be wearing. This dress is older than most of you in this room. I bought it after high school. I wear it only in the fall and usually wear it at the Vancouver Tourism Awards. of which I won the grand prize one year. I love to win. Don't you? Back to the dress. That means it's autumn once again, and perhaps I need a bit more motivation to get another nomination for the awards breakfast in November. All right, listen, you all got this. Let your personality shine through. Learn a couple of jokes. Get to know people. You can make a difference. Smile. Get that international language working for you. I just want to ask you all something. If everyone can just stand up. Yes, everyone stand up. And turn to people around you and say hello. Hello. And tell them shake their hand. Say hello, my name is. Shake their hand. And remember their name. And tomorrow, when you see those people, okay. So maybe started. Maybe seated. Sit down. Be quiet. So tomorrow, I urge you, those people you just introduced yourselves to, say hello, Sarah, hello, John, hello, whoever it may be. Remember their names. Smile at them. You will have made a new friend. Thank you for having me. Good luck to you all. All the best.
Alrighty. I have a question. Explain what the 10-foot rule is.
Me?
Yeah. Just a second. Does anyone know what the 10-foot rule might be?
Nobody knows.
No one knows. Natalia? It's from the first thing you learned at the Pan Pacific Hotel.
The first time you see someone, you smile, you acknowledge them, you look at them, you say hello.
Whether they're coworkers, within 10 feet from each other, you smile, you nod, you say hello. Sometimes when I go to a hotel as a guest, I can't help myself. Good morning, how are you today? Hold the door for them. I'm like, okay, Linda, you're not at work anymore. I don't have to say hi to everybody, but it's instilled in you. So I just wanted to make sure that everyone knew what the 10-foot rule was. So use it in class, use it around the school. Yes. Who has a question for Natalia? Who has a question? Yes. You want to stand up? Put your hand up. We're good.
Hello.
Hello.
My name is Roger.
Nice to meet you.
Go ahead. Do you feel that you're empowered at work? Absolutely. Did everyone hear that?
Yeah.
Empowerment. She feels that she can do these special things for their guests. What happens when people are happy and they get a good experience? They come back. Yes, they come back. That's
Over
the name
and
of the game.
over again. They come back over and over and they say, where's Natalia working today? And they always come and visit.
They do. So that's what we want. It's the little things that matter that don't cost a lot of money. Okay, the last chance. Any questions? Yes.
Your other work, like photography and that stuff, did you find working in the restaurant had any skills that were transferable to some of the other stuff you did?
So when I worked on the cruise ship, because I was a very junior staff and I really didn't know what I was doing when I was working with the photography equipment, they would invariably put me in the gallery, gallery where they sold all the photos because I was personable, I could talk to people. So same idea, it was customer service. I think no matter what job you do in life, it's all based on customer service. So you can relate anything that you learn here, you can apply it to anything really, any kind of work. Police officer, public servant, any kind of job, CEO, everyone needs personable skills. Everybody needs to talk to people. Everybody needs to be friendly. Everyone needs to smile. And not just for yourself, for the people you work with and for. That's what I think that it all translates, regardless of where I was.
Exactly. Whether you stay in hospitality business or you go and do something else, you're still going to need some customer service skills, right? Because that's the name of the game.
I'm very angry. Sometimes something didn't go right with the front desk. When I see the person, I just try to give them the best possible service, and I don't use I'll use my indoor voice with them. I coddle them a little bit, kind of treat them a little bit like kids. Like, are you okay? I've cried with people, I've laughed with people, but I just try to take it in stride. I have had very bad days there. I've cried at work, I've been angry at work, I've had every emotion possible at work. But I always pretend that I have a TV camera on me when it gets really bad. I'm like, someone somewhere is judging me. And invariably people are from other tables, my coworkers, wherever. So if you can somehow figure out, okay, this person needs something, I'm going to figure out what it is and I'm going to give it to them. Regardless of whether they're going to pay for the service or not, I'm going to make them leave here happy. So people have come in storming mad about their rooms, about noise disturbance, all sorts of things, and they've left happy. And I've charged them. So it's a matter of dealing with the person personally. Taking time to listen and figure out what is their need and why are they like that. So not to take it personally.
And listening to them, I think, is important as well. Sure. Anyone else? Oh, we're back to you. Okay, my friend.
Actually, my question is, how do we feel as when talking to a new person? Like, we know them, we know nothing about them. So how to communicate with them if you want to start a conversation?
How do you start a conversation with your guests, Nat?
I walk over, I'm like, good morning, and I'm smiling. How are you? Are you here for the first time? Are you visiting? What do you want to do today?
Ask questions.
Yeah, you just ask questions and immediately respond, or you see something that they're wearing. Maybe they're wearing a t-shirt from the concert from the night before, or maybe their kids have a Pokemon Go or something. You find something that they like or something that interests you as well, and I'm telling you, out of 99 times out of 100, you will find similar interests with everybody in this room. If you gave yourself time to get to know everybody here, you would realize that we're all the same. We're just different. So you would find ways to make friends. Like that little exercise I did, you stand up and you say hello to somebody, that's all it takes. Hello, smile, what's your name? That's what it comes down to. When I see that smile, all the way across the room, I
Oh, those pearly whites showing down. All right. Nat is very, very good at doing that. It's making a connection. That's important. Making a connection with somebody, with the guests. Alrighty. Yes.
So, do you have any piece of advice for us in order to become adaptable in like the workplace, especially in hotels or making in tourism?
So adaptable, I don't think you have to adapt to any environment. I think you allow the environment, you go in, you assess it, you see how it is, be friendly, be open, say hi to everybody. Every single person that likes your 10-foot, right back to the 10-foot rule and smiling. You walk by, you say hello. The next day you see what their name tag is and you say hello Bob. Or you maybe saw some the people in the lunchroom, I sit here. I think it's if you can open yourself up to friendship, it happens in every way possible. It's not a hard thing. We don't go out of our comfort zone. We have our own little circle of friends, but it doesn't have to be that way. Your guys are all studying the same thing. I don't see why you have to sit with the same people every day. Mix it up sometimes.
I mix them up. That's what those name cards are there, so I mix them up.
Oh, you do? Good point.
No, does it work? Yeah, exactly. So that's A and B I had this morning. So I put them with different people.
Perfect.
And then I put them in groups so that they have to work together, get to know each other. Because they're spending 2 whole years together. Can you believe that? 2 whole years, or longer, if you go into the degree program. Alrighty. Who else? Anybody else? Going once? Going twice? Not any final words?
Thanks for having me.
Alrighty.